This is the Dynasty Vipers Vipercast.
And now it's time to touch base on the tight ends. What is the fantasy wasteland, you ask? It's the tight end position each and every year. But guess what? Every year, a tight end rises from the ashes of this wasteland and becomes the phoenix of fantasy football. Who is it going to be this year? I got a guy for you that we're going to talk about who's inside my top 8, who I absolutely love, is my favorite pass catcher on a certain team. That being said, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk 1 through 5 off the get-go. And really, I'm probably going to catch a little flack, but you know what? I really don't care because I don't like Kyle Pitts like everybody else does. Again, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, get out of here. So we are now on opportunity number 3 to fool me, but that's Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, and Darren Waller catching passes from the Mayo Moon, the Vanilla Vic, Daniel Jones himself.
Moon now? Yuck.
Just got to keep throwing them in there. And I can see how people could have Kyle Pitts up there on that list. But I'm not putting him ahead of Kelce. I'm not putting him ahead of Hawkinson. I'm not putting him ahead of Mark Andrews in redraft. I'm not putting him ahead of George Kittle, but Kittle does have a history of maybe missing a few games due to injury. That could factor in. And Darren Waller, I really think in New York is the number 1 target there. And when he was the number 1 target for the Las Vegas Raiders, he was a top tight end. I think he was like tight end 2 behind Travis Kelce there. So is there a tight end there, Tara, that you would put Kyle Pitts ahead of and feel like, yeah, he's got to be ahead of this guy? Like, has to be.
I mean, the only difference for me is just swapping Waller and Pitts. And the only, again, you can't, I don't like to say, injury. But the combination of injury and, in age there with Darren Waller could make me lean towards Kyle Pitts over him. But it's such a small discrepancy. Honestly, I really don't think it even matters that much. So nope, I do strongly disagree with you with Hawkinson over Andrews.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, but do we even have to justify it? I mean, we've got Lamar in contract. Hell, and cross our fingers, healthy should mean good things for Mark Andrews. So that's it.
I mean, I can see the argument on both sides. I mean, they both got quarterbacks that target the tight end position. Kirk Cousins loves to target TJ Hawkinson, and we've seen that last season. He's also got Jordan Addison to throw the ball to. I mean, both these offenses, Minnesota and Baltimore, have a plethora now of pass catchers. I mean, Minnesota always had that. KJ Osborne, he's still there, but Adam Thielen's moved on. And obviously in Baltimore, they've added pieces there with Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers. I just think there's that one extra mouth that needs to be fed in Baltimore that could take some opportunities away from Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is going to get his. TJ Hawkinson's going to get his. I think the difference between these two is going to be very minute.
So the combination of Jefferson, Addison, and KJ Osborne does not concern
I'm not worried
you
about
more
Osborne.
than the combination of does not concern you more than the combination of Bateman, Flowers, Odell.
OBJ. Yeah.
No, it doesn't, because you forgot to add the extra combination. Alexander Madison on one side, J.K. Dobbins on the other side, and Lamar Jackson running the ball on the other side. I think when you factor the run game, I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to run the ball more than the Minnesota Vikings, which means more touches are going to the backfield as opposed to the tight end position.
Hold on, wait a minute. Time out, Tara. I think the first time, he actually got you on one of these things. Like, what? That was a good job.
Don't say that. She's going to fight her way out of this one. Don't you worry.
That was a good one.
But that's always been the case. If that's the justification, then Mark Andrews would have never been your tight end too.
No, but TJ Hawkinson was with the Detroit Lions. He's not with the Minnesota Vikings. TJ Hawkinson was not in this offense. This is a different offense than he was in Detroit.
So you think that he's going to have a Mark Andrews type of season?
I think he's going to have a TJ Hawkinson type season like he had on the back half of last season with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm telling you, these two guys are going to have very similar numbers.
He got you on this one, Tara. He got you. Throw the white flag in. The running game, he got you.
I'm just looking at, so if you look at 2001 for Mark Andrews and look at last year from yeah, because we obviously can't look at last year was just a disaster for what happened in Baltimore.
Okay.
But if you're looking at 2001 for Mark Andrews, and then you look at last year, which was technically tied in too for TJ Hawkinson, the fantasy point discrepancy right there is literally legitimately 100 points. My problem is that TJ Hawkinson was tied in too because nobody else could achieve it. He was not close to Travis Kelce. I know Mark Andrews can get me there. TJ Hawkinson can't get me there. There's not a scenario in which I can ever fathom TJ Hawkinson getting close to that level. So I can't justify it.
All I know is TJ Hawkinson only had one Pro Bowl quarterback throwing him the ball. Mark Andrews had two Pro Bowl quarterbacks throwing him the ball.
Man, that's wild. That's wild.
Their fantasy points
last year were actually not even that and you consider the downfall of it. So that just tells you how dramatically the production dipped off from Mark Andrews last year. When you look at, there's literally now granted, I'm looking at something specific. I'm not looking at, I'm looking literally in a sleeper league right now. There's a 20-point fantasy difference between Hawkinson and Andrews. And obviously those are very tilted in different directions in terms of where their seasons went. But I don't see a scenario in which TJ Hawkinson can get me close to a Travis Kelce level. I don't see it.
I'll say the only way I see it working in Tara's favor, because I think TJ is the wide receiver 2 on that team, right?
Yeah, he's probably the wide receiver too. Jordan Addison's going to get his too. Jordan Addison is probably the best route runner in this class.
Yeah, but he's still a rookie. I don't think he's one of those dynamic rookies who's gonna have a what do you call chase type of season. But Andrews probably still the wide receiver 1 on that team, really, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be close, and like I said, I've got this very close. The consensus and the ADP have them reversed, like how Tara has them. But I mean, you're talking about one position in that whole thing. I mean, it's going to be close between these two as the wide receiver too. I don't think either one of them is going to challenge Travis Kelce. I don't see that happening in this. Now, 6, where we at here? 6 through 13 is Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert. You could even argue, I'd even argue that Dallas Goedert should be ahead of Kyle Pitts. I mean, I'm close to making that swap. It feels weird to have Kyle Pitts lower than 6. It really does. And I don't know if that's because it's peer pressure from the fantasy community or what it is, but I think Dallas Goedert could make an argument that he should be above Kyle Pitts. And then at number 8, your fantasy savior, Chig Okonkwo out of Tennessee. This is my guy. When it's all said and done, he is going to be that tight end that comes from essentially nowhere and has that big season, that top 10 fantasy wide receiver type season, because it's Treylon Burks and it is Okonkwo in this offense. Derrick Henry's going to run the ball, but outside of that, these are the only two. If you look at the – sorry, I'm laughing before I even pull it up. If you look at the Tennessee Titans depth chart as far as pass catchers are concerned, Kyle Phillips, Westbrook-Ikhine, I mean, those are the next two guys up after Treylon Burks. After that, it's even worse. I mean, there's nothing here that is going to say, you know what, maybe CJ Moore or Racey McMath are going to take away some touches from these guys.
I like Racey. I do like Racey.
He's like 5th, 6th on the depth chart, and it is so bad. There is no way that Chig Okonkwo is going to lose targets. He had one of the most efficient seasons here of anybody. Like if I pull it up, and I'm talking about Chig Okonkwo here. I mean, I'll let you guys talk about him here real quick. But I'll finish talking about the rest of the guys before I come back. Evan Ingram at number 9. Hard to deny the type of season that he had last season, right? I mean, he had one of those, he had what we thought he could have been when he was with the New York Giants. And then at 10, David Njoku. At 11, Dalton Schultz. At number 12, Pat Freiermuth. When you look at that, how are you feeling about that top 12?
It's aggressive on Chig, but I don't hate it. Other than that, it's all pretty standard.
Yeah, I would keep him in the top 10, but I would probably move Evans up, and I like Pat Freiermuth a little bit more than Njoku. Never really, he's just not consistent enough for me to put him in the top 10. And then Dalton Schultz is on a new team with a young quarterback that usually works in the tight end's favor, but I'm not sure if it's gonna do that in this case because he has so much receiver talent around him. But other than that, man, these tight ends, man, it's starting. Are we gonna do the whole list? Like we can stop here, I think.
Well, we're going to do the whole list because I need to get at least 10 minutes worth of film on this before I can post it separately. But if you look at it, 4 of his final 6 contests, going back to Chigakonkwo, ended with 10 or more fantasy points. On a yards per route run basis, his 2.61 was tops amongst the position. That's right. It was higher than Travis Kelce. It was higher than Mark Andrews. Now, when you break that down even a little bit further, he was effective in facing both man and zone coverages, leading the tight end position against zone and was 4th amongst against man coverage. And then if you want some analytics here to kind of back it up, how about over the last 5 seasons, there are only 5 players that have finished with a higher than 0.35 EPA per target, 7.9 yards per catch per reception there, and over 30 receptions. Those 5 players, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, George Kittle, and Chigakonkwo. There's opportunity there for Okonkwo. There really is. There's analytics to kind of base it on here, why I think he's going to be that breakout player. And again, is it aggressive? It could be, but you look at what's happened in the past. Dalton Schultz was aggressive a few seasons ago. No one saw that. Logan Thomas was aggressive a few seasons ago. No one saw that. Even Austin Hooper had a top 12 fantasy football season not that long ago that no one would have predicted. So when you're looking for someone to rise, it's going to happen each and every year at the tight end position. It's just a matter of identifying who that player is going to be. Now, maybe that player comes in that 13 through 20 range because you know me, I love myself some Juwan Johnson there in New Orleans. We know Derek Carr has a history of throwing to his tight end, Darren Waller. Juwan Johnson is another big target that he could target. Tyler Higbee, as big of an ass as he is, he's still a good football player and is one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets. Matthew Stafford's coming back. Maybe this is where we see Tyler Higbee even crack into the top 6. I mean, there's potential, and I would hate it. I would hate it because he is such a dick when it's all said and done. Number 15, Cole Kmet. I was higher on him last season than I am entering this season, even though I think this Bears offense is better, but there's more. DJ Moore comes in, so to speak, and that's going to be one more target taken away from Cole Kmet. At number 16, and I'm much higher on him. I think he's the best tight end from fantasy for the rookie position, and that's Sam Laporta. You look at his opportunity there with the Detroit Lions in this offense. I think he's that guy that can move up a little bit higher. At 17, Michael Mayer. And number 18, Dalton Kincaid. 3 rookies back to back to back, all with good opportunities. Tight end position has never been a great position for rookies in fantasy. Never has been. There's never been I can't remember the last time we had a great rookie season from a tight end. These 3 tight ends, they may not be top 12 tight ends when it's all said and done, but they're all in good positions to do so. Laporta there in Detroit, Michael Mayer there in Las Vegas. There, no Darren Waller, probably 3rd on the pecking order as far as targets are concerned. Dalton Kincaid, he is going to come in there, hopefully fill that Cole Beasley type role. And Cole Beasley had 100+ targets out of the slot. Dalton Kincaid is a tight end, but really he's not a tight end. And then at number 19, Tara, I can't quit him. I just can't quit him. And that is Irv Smith Jr. Why can't I quit him? Because he's gone to Cincinnati and no tight end has failed there. CJ Uzomah, he was there. He got paid by the New York Jets. Then Hayden Hurst got there and he got paid by the Carolina Panthers. You go to Cincinnati as a tight end, you're going to get paid. So I think Irv Smith is going to have that good season. At number 20, Greg Dulcich. I don't know what Denver's doing at the tight end position. They got the candy man there, Alberto. They just traded for Adam Troutman. I don't know if they're going to run 12 personnel all the time because all their wide receivers get hurt. I don't know what's going on there. So I got him a little bit lower. When you look at that range, 13 to 20, is there a guy that you can see cracking that top 12? Major.
I'm going to go with Michael Mayer. Just because, like, living in LA, all the Mexican homies, they don't have a J. They call me Mayor all the time. So I think I have a little affinity for him. But I think Jimmy G, he's a tight end running back. Like you love those, or a slot guy. Anybody who's running short routes, he's like the god of that. He's the short yard god. That's pretty much it, man. I can't. I might protest tight ends this rest of the season. I'm not talking tight ends anymore. Oh wait, here's a
Um,
question for you guys. Here's a question before Tara goes. Do you guys
Mm-hmm.
still believe in like the 2-year, 3-year I guess growth period for tight ends? Is that still a thing or is it faster?
I think it's still a thing. I haven't seen a tight end exceed that. I definitely haven't seen one do it in the first year. Second year, I mean, it's possible, but yeah, I think you're looking at year 3 before you become really efficient at the tight end position. And maybe one of these guys breaks that mold, but I have a hard time trusting in that. It's possible. These guys are all in great situations to do it. I just can't get behind it because we haven't seen it. They would have to be an outlier, right? We talked about ACL injuries. Adrian Peterson, he came back and was effective the next season. Jamal Charles, he came back, was effective the next season. We haven't seen that very often. That's why they're outliers. And that's what's with the tight end position at the rookies. We just haven't seen a rookie have that season yet at the tight end position. So there's no reason to believe that we're going to get it. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but there's no reason at this point to believe that it could happen because it hasn't yet.
For me, now I will say I agree with you, but I do think that if any of them has a shot, while I like Laporta long term, I think it's going to be Kincaid because I don't think we'll see a traditional tight end usage from him. We know for a fact he's not going to be called on to block, and we know that Buffalo wants to. They're looking to fill a role that they've been trying to fill over the past several years, and they just haven't been able to do it. Gabe Davis can't fill that role. He's a deep, inconsistent threat. He can't be that consistent wide receiver to target getter in that offense, and that's what they're looking for. And I think they finally, unfortunately, Isaiah McKenzie did not work out. Khalil Shakir is still there, but again, I don't know they have that trust level. But I do think that Dalton Kincaid has a special opportunity because of what they want him to fill in this offense for Buffalo. So I could see him being that guy who, as a rookie, has that kind of break mold because he's going to be utilized and he's built differently in terms of a tight end.
All right, and then because I love doing this to Major. I like messing with them. We're gonna go through 21 through 32 real quick. Gerald Everett, Hunter Henry, Noah Fant, Hayden Hurst, Trey McBride, Cade Otton, Taysom Hill, Jake Ferguson, Dawson Knox. This is the Kincaid factor here for me. Mike Gesicki, Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin's that guy that could rise up. I mean, I feel like we're disrespecting him once. I'm disrespecting him once again. But even his ADP is actually 3 spots lower than 31. And then obviously Zach Ertz comes in at 32, and that injury history still bothers me. I don't know if he's going to be ready off the get-go. Kyler Murray not being there probably for the beginning of the season, that all factors into that. When I look at these guys, there's guys that can move up and down. I can see the tight end position. We never know what we're going to get, right? I wish there was an exact science when it came to the tight end position, but like Major said, we're sick of talking about it because it hasn't given us anything to talk about. You get your top 2-3 tight ends, and then there's another tier break, and then another tier break, and then it's essentially like one big ass tier is how it breaks down, where you don't know how the rest of it's going to shuffle. But we know someone at the bottom is like Jenga. You pull a tight end from the middle and you put it on top. That's what happens each and every year. That's why I'm betting on Chigakonkwo being that guy. Now, I don't want to talk about tight ends anymore, so I'll pull up the list here one more time. Obviously, the top 16 here is Kelsey Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Chigakonkwo, Evan Ingram, David Njoku at number 10, Dalton Schultz, Pat Freiermuth, Juwan Johnson, Tyler Higbee, Cole Kmet, and, of course, Sam Laporta comes in just ahead of Michael Mayer and Dalton Kincaid as far as my tight end rankings are entering the season. That being said, I think Kincaid and Mayer are both better dynasty tight ends than we're going to get out of Laporta. With that all being said, this has been another edition of the Dynasty Vipers Vipercast. You can catch us on Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course right here on the Vipers Network here on the YouTube channel. Hit that search button, type in Dynasty Vipers. We'll pop up right there. Make sure to hit that link, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, do what you got to do.
Do it.
And we will see you next week. Take care now.